लाइव है।
हेलो। सब वीडियो ऑन कर लियो। Hi guys, welcome to Career Mentorship by BSW. This is our first initiative, the Intern podcast series, where we'll talk to our successful seniors from different fields and learn from their experiences. I'm Sunrit, and today we have a very special episode for you. We are going to explore the exciting, lucrative world of quant careers. Quantitative analysts, or quants, are the people who use mathematical and statistical techniques to evaluate financial markets. To help us understand more about quant careers and how we can pursue them, we have invited four guests who are currently working as quants in different firms. They are Vaibhav, Divyansh, Riya, and Ishaan. We would like to start with a short introduction, starting with Vaibhav.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Vaibhav and I'm currently interning at Quadeye.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Divyansh.
Hi, I'm Divyansh and I'm currently interning at Optiver.
Great. Riya, could you?
Hi, I'm Riya and I'm currently interning at Tower Research.
Thanks for joining. Ishaan. Uh, Ishaan, I think.
Hello, am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
my name
you're
is
on.
Ishaan Govil and I am currently a trading intern at Chain Street.
Great. Thanks for joining us today. We are very excited to learn from you, and let's begin with the questions. So, Anmol,
I am sure many people here have only a vague idea of what quant is. To start off with, can you tell us what quantitative trading is? What work does a quant researcher do? Weber sir, I would love an answer from your side.
Yeah, so like quantitative trading is mainly algorithmic trading. So you make algorithms to that will analyze market trends and just identify trading opportunities so that you can make money.
So, sir, what exactly do a quant researcher do or a quant trader?
Like strategies लिखते हैं quant researchers mainly कि like appropriately trading कर पाए. Like algorithm लगा के छोड़ दिया और फिर like trading करता रहेगा वो आपके लिए और profit बनाएगा कंपनी के लिए.
So now, sir, Divyansh sir, can you please explain the difference between researchers and the trading roles? Research roles and trading roles.
So yeah, research role, I guess Vaibhav ने explain कर ही दिया. In trading, what we basically have in Optiver is that जैसे ट्रेडिंग तुम लोगों ने देखी होगी मूवी वगैरह में कुछ जैसे फ्लोर पे लोग चिल्ला रहे होते हैं बाय सेल एंड ऑल दैट. सो एट दिस पॉइंट फ्लोट ट्रेडिंग ऑलमोस्ट बंद हो गई है एंड पीपल यूजुअली ट्रेड फ्रॉम बिहाइंड द स्क्रीन. सो एक स्क्रीन होती है, बहुत सारे स्टॉक एक्सचेंजेस होते हैं और उन पे बाय सेल के ऑप्शन होते हैं. तुम्हारे पास बहुत सारे स्टॉक्स होते हैं. तो ट्रेडर इज बेसिकली समवन जो स्क्रीन के पीछे बैठ के स्क्रीन ट्रेडिंग कर रहा है, बाय सेल या जो भी है वो अलग अलग चीज़ें जेन्युइनली ट्रेड कर रहा है. एंड इट इन्वॉल्व्स अ लॉट ऑफ, मतलब तुम्हें बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऑन द स्पॉट सोचनी रहती है, बट इट्स ऑल अप टू योर डिसीजन मेकिंग कि तुम्हें एट दैट पॉइंट वो वाला स्टॉक या वो वाला इंस्ट्रूमेंट बाय करना है, सेल करना है या छोड़ देना है.
that's really interesting. But drawing into this thing that you said that algorithmic trading to understand markets, Vaibhav, you said that, and so like, but when we are preparing for our internship season, we don't have that much info of finance and stock markets. So does one need a good knowledge of finance and stock markets to get into HFT and quant companies? Divyansh?
Uh, I don't think so. It's really required. It's really required to have a knowledge about stocks and all, to have a knowledge about the stock market. If I recall my experience, so Optiver didn't really have any rounds based on trading or stuff like that. They had a couple on market making, but in that too, the company people only started with explaining what market making is basically, and then doing a doing a couple of rounds of practice with them, and then they started the actual evaluation round. So yeah, they taught us during the process only, and then tested on how quickly we learned what all they were teaching us.
Okay. So another popular question we received when we floated the form: what is the ideal time to start preparing for a quant role? Uh, Please share your personal experience as well. When did you start preparing? So Ishaan, could you answer this question?
Ishan, your mic might be mute, please.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, so basically, I was saying that I did most of my preparation during the summer, during the last year summer internship. I had a research internship, so basically, which you must be having this year. So
Mhm.
apart from the lab that you go to during the research internship, you have plenty of time. I mean, during the later half of the day. So I mean, you can allocate 2 to 3 hours of your day to, I mean, solving problems and something like that, which can, I mean, and grow in the sense that just do something each day.
And that's very encouraging news for all of us, I guess. Anmol, could you take the next question?
So, sir, if we were anyone to prepare in the summer break, how much time do you think he should give? Ishan, sir, could you please answer this one?
I mean, you should act. You should try to, uh, I mean, prepare in the summer break, because after the summer break, I mean, there's not much time left to prepare for anything, because the interviews are. I mean, the the company tests just start. I mean, after, I guess, after 1 or 2 weeks. So I mean, it would become a lot hectic if you are preparing as well as giving the tests during that time.
So, this question is from the second year students. What all the preparations and CV building advices would you give to us, the second year ones? What are the importance of projects and what type of projects are better suited for a quant profile?
So for
Riya, ma'am.
quant, as far as I know, for second year there aren't a lot of choices. Not a lot of companies are open for second year, right? So I think Jane Street is one of the companies open. Other than that, I don't remember any from my personal experience. The other panel members can correct me if they remember anything else. Um, but yes, there are some options open in SD for second year, and you can apply off campus as well if you're really interested in going for a quant role in your second year. Other than that, you can try out research internships and actually build upon the skills that are required to get into a quant job in your third year internship instead of going for a quant intern in the second year itself. So you
So,
have a stronger CV, better projects to show, and get a better intern in your third year. I think that's the better way to go about it.
So, ma'am, what kind of projects would we need to do in second year so that we can land a good internship in third year?
Okay, so it any good project, a project in which you've worked hard and you really understand that project well, does count, because quant companies use a lot of computer engineering aspects in all of their programs. So if you're able to do a good research internship, especially something towards the system side, then that will help a lot.
Uh, Getting shortlisted by quant firms is a very big challenge, as we all know. So, how can we make our CV more attractive and appealing to quant recruiters? Also, can you share some things that recruiters look for in a CV specifically? Riya, man.
Okay, so quant companies receive a lot of CVs, like everyone applies for them.
Mm.
So they might not even actually read each and every CV. So some things that really matter a lot are things like your JE rank and your CGPA. But at the moment, well, those are some constants and you cannot change them a lot. But you should definitely add any extra achievements that you've achieved. For example, if you participated in any coding competitions, then you must include that in your CV, as quant firms really give some importance to that. Especially things like ICPC and all that, even that are famous. And you should always remember to give quote the statistics. For example, if you stood third in a competition, then you must mention that I stood third in this competition instead of just saying that I participated or I performed well in this competition.
Great,
So,
thank
Vaibhav
you.
sir, we would love to know did the IIT curriculum help you in any way? Were there some courses which were useful for the quant roles? Are there some facilities or opportunities at IIT Delhi that we can use or leverage to know more about or develop for the quant?
So like quant preparation involves learning a quite a bit of probability. So one course that helped a lot is MTL 106 probability and stochastic processes. So it's core for most circuital branches. So you anyways do that course, and it does help a lot. And other than the courses, there are a lot of competitions nowadays. Like Tower Research had a competition recently, and Optiver had one in the winters. So you can participate in these competitions to get a better idea of what quant is and practice your skills.
Yeah, so quant interviews are very famously challenging and they test all kinds of quantitative logical skills, programming skills. So, can we have a specific insight on how you prepared for your interviews and tests? And I would like to address this question to both Divyansh and Ishaan. So, Divyansh, could you start?
So yeah, I I guess the main things to prepare for quant would obviously include practicing competitive programming, because a lot of companies focus on that. And then there are some standard resources, be it Brainstiller puzzles, and then Heard on the Street book, and 50 challenges in probability. But if I talk specifically about what they asked us in Optiver and what really helped me prepare was, like, they didn't really have any as such particular way of questions or anything like that. More or less, they were general logical reasoning questions, and yeah, probability really helped me in different rounds, as it also plays a huge part in really making decisions based on the information that you have, whether you want to buy some stuff or not. So, yeah, practice probability through whatever resource you can, be it revision of your MTL 106 or
Uh,
JEE
did
probability.
the interview
Sorry.
uh, guys, was it more focused on probability based questions or more on the competitive programming aspect?
No, Optimal didn't really ask competitive programming at all. Like, in the final round, what I remember was there was a card game where they laid down, like, there were three cards, and they gave me an option whether to buy the call option or the put option, stuff like that. So Optiver didn't really ask competitive programming for trading role at all, at no point. It was just logical reasoning and probability. But a lot of uh, other companies do take into account how well your coding skills are.
Okay. Uh, what resources would you say help during the CP part of your preparation?
I guess CP, the best resources were Lead Code and Code Forces, and maybe Ishan would be able to answer this a bit
Okay,
better.
okay. Ishan, could you?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, these standard things that are there for competitive programming, like lead code and giving contest at code forces. I mean, I think they are enough for preparing as far as CP is concerned for the internship processes.
And how else would you prepare for the interview?
Yeah, so basically, for preparing for the interview, I agree with what Divyansh said. I mean, you need to focus on getting your probability correct and getting fast with numbers. So I mean, you can refer to the books that are there for the problems and brain stiller, as you mentioned, and
Okay. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, this is
Now we have spoken a lot about CP in the interview process, but there are also coding rounds for some of these companies. So a very popular question is, what is the difficulty of these coding rounds when as part of the competitive programming aspect? And what advice would you give to students who are just beginning CP in this summer? Riya ma'am, could you answer this question?
Yeah. So level of difficulty is generally not very hard. So lead code, as mentioned earlier, is the best to practice. And it is never too late if you have not done CP earlier. If you have even done call 106, then you must have a basic idea of programming. So you should start with the level of questions that suit you, that are not too hard, not too easy for you, and do as much as you can before the intern season begins.
That's great. Thank you.
We have gained a lot of idea about controls, but we would love to hear your personal experiences during the internship process. Weber sir, I would love to hear from you. What were the shortlisting criteria while you were in the internship process? How many rounds of tests and interviews were there?
Yeah, so at Quadeye this year we didn't have any shortlisting test. So it was a direct shortlist based on the CV. And in the interview, there were questions like brain teasers and probability stuff, which every quant asks. So in the other Indian firms like Graviton, there was a shortlisting test based on discrete maths and probability. And in a firm like NKS, there were like mixed questions, some of CP and some of probability and some of C++ fundamentals. And in a firm like AlphaGrep, there were just CP questions for the control. So apart from this, as Ishaan and Divyansh said, doing Brainsteller gives a pretty good idea of the type of questions that they can ask in controls.
Were there specific topics which were more important in the interview? And what was the main language of the interview? Are there any languages preferred over the others?
Uh, like so it's just general probability questions. So if you cover Brainsteller, you will have a pretty good base of doing base of the type of questions that could come in the interview. And so the language is just C++.
So, what were the main resources that helped you? You have covered a lot. Are there any other specific resources which you would like to point out?
I guess like if you have less time, Brainsteller is the best resource. And if you have more time over that, then refer any book, as Divyansh said.
And how has your been work experience so far?
Yeah, so it's pretty fun at Quadeye. So you do work a lot in the 5 days of the week, but weekends are pretty chill, and you do get a lot of time to do whatever you want to do. And in the office also, it's not like you are working the whole day, so you can take a break every hour and do whatever you want to do, like play TT, talk to people, eat good food.
Sir, really thanks. That was insightful. Ishan sir, we would love to hear from your side this time. What were the shortlisting criteria during your internship process? How many rounds were there? What were the most important topics?
so. I mean, the most important topics are, I mean, as far as Jane Street is concerned, and for, I mean, it is common for many of the quant firms is, I guess, probability and getting, uh, I mean, being able to solve problems and being good. I mean, being fast is important. Being fast is very important because given enough time, and I mean, anyone would be able to solve the problem. So you should be able to solve problems in your head without needing to write much. And uh, so basically, the the internship. Uh, I mean, the process for the internship varies from company to company. For Jane Street, I mean, there are 4 to 5 interviews, which I mean they progress in the sense that uh, the difficulty of problem just keeps on. I mean, it gradually increases, and I mean all the problems. all the problems that they ask is generally uh, regarding some aspect of probability or something like that. Yeah.
And how has been your work experience so far?
I mean, the work experience is pretty good. You are usually busy on the weekdays, pretty busy on the weekdays. But I mean, yeah, as I said, you need to take periodic breaks, which I mean, they should not last very long, but you should. I mean, you need to have a work-life balance. Having a work-life balance if you are working in quant is very important. So yeah, I mean, don't stress too much regarding the work. That is one thing that should be taken care of. And yeah, I mean, the work experience has been pretty good. I'm learning a number of new things. So yeah, that's fine.
Thanks, Ishaan sir. That has been insightful. DMM, now I would love to hear from your side. What was the shortlisting criteria? How was your internship process? What were the major topics during the interview?
Okay. So the shortlisting for Tower is the first stage is screening based on CV, which is quite selective. Then they even have a written like a coding round, uh, on the basis of which they eliminate a lot of people. So not many people are selected for the final interview. Um, on the day of the final interview, they'll ask you basically quant questions like brainsteller and other sources that were mentioned earlier are sufficient, and some coding based questions as well. Nothing too different from other companies, I'll say. uh, the languages required for the test and all, C++ is sufficient. You don't need anything else. And resources, I'll say, for coding, lead code and code chef, code forces are enough. And for quant, you can refer to brainsteller and other quant resources as well. Nothing more specific, I'll say, for Tower.
So, Riya ma'am, how has been your work experience so far?
My work experience has been good. Uh, till now, we have like, coming from a computer science background, I haven't had much knowledge about quant. So we are going step by step, and they're teaching us the new knowledge that is necessary to work in quant. So from that point of view, it has been nice. A lot of new stuff to learn.
Thanks, ma'am. Now we would love to hear from you, Divyansh, sir. What were the shortlisting criteria, internship process, and overall experience during your time?
So yeah, during my time during the last week of July and for starting of August, I was really not targeting any specific company as such. So I was preparing for core software quant whichever I could, and there were a lot of tests and all going on. So Optiver was just going by going on the side because there were 4 or 5 trading rounds before the final day, the day when i- interview. So it was like all so many things happening, and then Optiver was kind of going on at its own pace on the side. And I had to do a lot of stuff for all the different companies, be it the domestic quant was that we have, but Optival didn't really. I can't really explain how to prepare for it specifically because all they asked was logical reasoning stuff, a bit of probability, and then it was a very different process. Like you have to just be there, go through the rounds that they are go through the rounds as they come, and like they give you some stuff to study for a couple of rounds, and you have to just try to work well with what you have at that point. And then even on the final day, they were for trading there were 2 rounds. So one was a HR round, and then there was a final round in which there was a card game. And yeah.
So could you please elaborate on the HR round? This is the first we're hearing.
Yeah, so the HR round was, I guess, pretty important in Optiver because I've seen many people both in software and trading get eliminated in that round, and they had more or less 40 some shortlists, 40 some shortlists, but a lot of people were rejected based on their responses in the HR round. It basically was an interaction with some of the people in the company about what I've done in the past 2 years in my college life, and why I want to go to Optiver, what made me like what was the idea behind me applying for the company and stuff like that. Like it was more or less based on me. It was more or less based on me telling my experience over the past 2 years, and
Thanks.
So, sir, how was your work experience so far?
So the trading thing is pretty intensive. As in during the weekdays, the trading starts at 8:30, and the trading starts at 9 and ends at 5:30. So the guys have to be there at 8:15. First there's a morning meeting to discuss all the major trading changes that have happened overnight, and then right now we're having simulation trading over this week, over the past couple of weeks. So in that time we were given a screen, and we had to we had to do the stuff that traders do. But before that, in the first 2 weeks, there were proper trading lectures explaining what all are the terms associated with the trading and stocks and all that. So yeah, the weekdays are pretty long, as in there's a lot of work, but the weekends are all free for us.
Divyansh, there has been this pressing question that is quant feasible for non-circuital branches?
So as far as I remember, most of the companies were open only for the circle branches, and even Optiver software was just open for the circle branches, but Optiver trading was open for everyone who had a CGF 7 plus. And I even remember there were a couple of guys in the final round who were from mechanical or chemical branches. So yeah, there was no as such branch foundation in for Optiver trading.
So a question we received in the forum was, is it easy to approach quant companies off campus? What advice would you give to students who might choose this alternative? So Vaibhav.
Yeah, so you can mail quant companies and they would reply back to you. So they ask like CP questions and quant questions in the interviews, as they do in the OCS rounds. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you sit in the OCS procedure and you get some firm that you don't really want to go, and you apply off campus and you get a confirm that you would like to go, and you don't go to the OCS intern that you got selected for, then there are repercussions for that, and you can get blacklisted from OCS, which can like debar you from sitting in the placement season. So like you have to keep all this in mind if you are
Yeah, I'm sure
rejecting
none
an
of us
OCS
want that.
intern. Yeah.
Ishan, so this question is for you. Being quant can be demanding and fast-paced. So how did you manage your time and energy to handle this demanding nature? How did you strike a perfect balance between your work and personal life?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, you need to take, uh, when you are at work, you need to take periodic breaks. I mean, so that you are not overstressed or, in front of the screen for a extended duration of time. And uh, every hour, after every hour, taking a 10 minutes break is fine. But yeah, you should not take large breaks in that sense. But and after you come back, you should you should spend some time just chilling out with the other interns or maybe your college friends or something. So yeah, you should not stress if you are not able to perform on a given day, because it takes. It is quite a challenge on some of the days to just be just be 100%. So, 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 100%
Thanks for the advice, sir.
Yeah, I mean,
What other advices would you want to give to juniors?
basically, they should. I mean, they can start preparing if they have free time. In that sense, they can start with the books and doing simpler questions as of now, and maybe then progress on to more difficult and challenging questions.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
actually open this question to all of you. So, what advice would you give to us second year students who are thinking about sitting for quant roles and next year internship? Uh, what kind of role is suitable for each person? It's different, and really, from your experiences, it's a very specific kind of field. So, what are the pros and cons of working in quant?
Yeah, so one thing is that doing a lot of CP does help as a backup. You can get a good software intern also. So if you're only doing quant questions, you're only aiming for the quant roles and quant firms, and there are limited seats in that. So doing CP does open a lot of roles which you can target.
So, like, should we have some sort of a backup and not only prepare for probability and all that, which is specific to quant rules? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like you can land a good software intern also if you
Mhm.
are good in CP.
Yeah. Anybody else with inputs?
Yeah, one thing I would like to share is that what many people feel after doing CP for 2 months is that probably this is not something I'm much interested in. So software is not the right thing for me or stuff like that. So I don't know why it is like that, but the companies really test you for software roles through CP, but the work you have to do here is not very much based on that. So even if you're not really liking that part very much, and that's why you're thinking that maybe we'll not be we are not suited for this kind of role, be it software or, well, I'm mainly talking about software here. So then too you might want to really go ahead and try out software roles, and because the work that you have to do is pretty different from what what they test you on. And then yeah, just try try either you can either go about by picking up some definite companies and preparing a proper priority list that I want to prepare for for these kind of firms, but don't really leave some companies behind, as in either thinking that I don't really want to I don't really want to go there, or they are not really they are not really suited for me. You might change your opinion after a couple of weeks or uh, a couple of tests pass by. You might feel that this was not what I expected from this company, or this was not this just didn't go how I planned it would go, and that might change stuff for you. Yeah.
Liana,
Yes. Yeah.
what are the pros and cons? Why did you choose this specific role? Could you please elaborate on that?
So I applied for all roles. Honestly, I wasn't specific about quant, but most of my seniors from my branch had gone into quant. So like I was like, let me try it out. So I think everyone should be open to all options. Ask their seniors, try out everything. Like at least apply for a lot of companies because you never know. Sometimes the interview process might be a bit luck based as well. So at least during the applications, I won't suggest people to go only for quant. They should have a wider spectrum. And in specific, if you enjoy coding, if you enjoy computer science, you would probably, if you enjoy statistics, probability, reasoning, you would enjoy quant. So that is there. The cons, I would say, is that maybe there isn't as much of interaction. Like some people enjoy working by themselves, some people do not. So quant is something in which you will have to interact a lot with people in your office, but there isn't much interaction outside their office. So yeah, that's something to consider.
Ishaan sir, we would love your views on this. What are the pros? Why did you join Quant? What were the things that were told to you?
And basically, yeah, in quant, uh, you get to meet a lot of smart people in the sense that uh, most of the people that you will meet at your company would I mean, they would be pretty smart, so you will you will get to learn a lot from them about different what almost everything. And yeah, I mean, the benefits like better pay and all of them are obviously there. I mean, if someone likes finance and they want to do something, uh, I mean, they want to do something that uh, makes use of computer science and is related to economics or finance, they should definitely pursue it. I mean, for the cons, I will say that you don't get much. I mean, it's hard to maintain a work-life balance, and you don't have much time for. I mean, during the weekdays, you don't have much time for other things. So yeah, that is a con.
Vaibhav sir, could you take that question?
Yeah, so as Ishan said, like the company you get here is like really good. So you get to learn a lot from new people. And one thing is that the stipend is like really high. So you have a lot of money to like buy anything you would have ever dreamed of. So that's like a plus point. And it does make working hard over the week like pretty rewarding.
One more thing I would like to ask. I'm sure all of you have prepared very intensely for the internship season, but if you get a PPO in these quant firms, you won't have to repeat the same experience during your placement season. So, what are the opportunities about getting PPO from quant firms? Vaibhav sir, could you take it?
Yeah, so whichever company you go in, like just work hard and you there are good chances you will get a PPO because like companies hire interns because they're looking for hiring them later on.
Uh, for one more bit of extra motivation, I would love to hear your experiences in different countries around the world. So, like you're all placed in foreign countries, I think. Divyansh, Riya, Ishaan. So, could you give some insight into your experience there?
So if I talk about Netherlands and Amsterdam, it's pretty cold for summer here. I'm wearing a jacket right now, and if you go out, you really have to wear a jacket, and because it's really cold for summer. In the mornings when we leave for office at around 8, through our cycles, it's around 10-12 degrees. So, and the winds are blowing really hard. But apart from that, it's a very very nice city. And in general, if you get anywhere in Europe, there are so many countries nearby that you plan out your weekends in such way. You go out to various locations. Some of us went to Belgium last week. Some of us are going to France the next week. So yeah. And then apart from that, like a lot of time obviously goes in the office only. We get our we get all three meals there itself, so you don't really have to roam out in the city searching for food. So maybe I'm missing on that part a bit, but yeah.
Riya,
Yeah, so my experience has been good too. So, London is very different from Delhi, and exploring a new place, a new city, a new culture does help you learn other than your office work as well. And in the office, everyone has been really kind and helpful to me because coming from a different country, there is much more paperwork and etc. involved. But the company made it really smooth for us, and yeah, and food and all is provided to us as well. So even the housing and all, so everything is taken care of, and you have the weekends to explore if you want to.
Yeah, so for me, also the experience is pretty nice that I am. I mean, you can visit many things in Hong Kong, and the nightlife in Hong Kong is pretty good in the sense that you can go out clubbing, you can just walk on the street, you can go. I mean, you can go to a nearby island to have a great view or just sit peacefully, something like that. And then you can go to, I mean, you can go to Disneyland here in Hong Kong. You can go to Macau sometime. And yeah, I mean, you can make a lot of plans with the other interns or the full timers here. And yeah, they're, I mean, you will not get bored in the sense that there will be a lot of things to do.
Yeah, I'm sure with the stipends you're getting, there are a lot of things to do. So thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules and coordinating in different time zones to make it possible for us. It was really helpful for all of us, I'm sure. So thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you.